This short film will be discussing two lines of my family through my mother's side. The first will be the Italian side. We will be talking about people like Antonio Denaro and his children Ralph, who was my great-grandfather. The other side will be through Rebecca Van Slyke, my great-grandmother. Ralph and Rebecca had 5 children. My Uncle Tony, Uncle Eddie, Uncle Ralph, Aunt Lillian, and my grandma, Gigi, Bernice Ann Denaro. I interviewed members of my family and asked them to give me an introduction.
I'm Sally Theodore, 50 years old, from Sequoia, New York, which is in central New York.
My name is Douglas Miller, and I was born in Utica, New York, and grew up in a local suburb called Sequoia.
My name is Rebecca Theodore. I am 19 years old, and I was born in Albany, New York.
My name is Lauren Theodore. I'm 16 years old, and I was born in Albany, New York.
I wanted to first discuss the Denaro side of my family, so I asked them where do they think we came from in Italy.
I think we came from Florence.
I'm not exactly sure.
Sicily.
I really don't.
I'm pretty sure that's what I know.
That's where my grandparents and great-grandparents came from.
Mom might have said something, but, I really don't recall if it was Sicily or I don't know.
There is no record of where my family exactly came from in Italy, but there is a ship manifest when they came over from Argentina in 1901. I then asked them how we came here and why.
What I know is that Antonio Denaro and his wife and his 2 oldest kids went to Argentina because the Italian quota was full. So they went there and pretended to be Argentinian, and that's where Raphael, Gigi's father, was born. And then they came over. Antonio went to the U.S. to work for 10 years and then came back and got his kids in 1901.
From Argentina, I think. And then then we got to Ellis Island and everything. And
well, I know that I believe my great-grandfather came over from Italy and via Argentina and through Ellis Island, and they were out in Ohio, and then they came to New York. I believe that's the story in that one.
No, but I would imagine obviously by ship. But it wasn't unusual for some part of the family to move to America and then others join that person.
There is no surviving documentation of my family's reasons for coming over, just that they wanted a new life in America. Common for many immigrants. A difficult subject in my family has been our supposed Mafia connections. I asked them if we had any Mafia connections and who the infamous Aunt Millie and Uncle Holy were.
Yes, we do. During Prohibition, I know there was an uncle named Uncle Holy. Uncle Holy was a Mafia guy in our family. I know there's other people involved in the Mafia, not just him, but he ran illegal Prohibition distilleries, I think. And there's a story of they were selling it to the local cops, but the state troopers pulled him over or something, and he had to go burn the distillery down because they were worried the cops were going to come for him. But that's all we know. We don't know anything about his death or his birth or anything. We just know he's Uncle Holy.
Yes, we do. Uncle Holy was in the Mafia. Obviously, on Mom's side.
Yes, we had Uncle Holy. That was his name. That's how he's remembered as. And he was part of the Italian Mafia in Utica, New York.
I'm assuming her uncle, I don't really know that much, but I just know he was in the Mafia and, quite, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know, what we did. I don't know if it had anything to do with, drugs or money. I have no idea.
Not that I'm aware of. I think, Italians generally, like any other descent, frankly, form their own kind of neighborhoods. And, maybe that's the modern day bully.
I don't know. I think he was involved in the unions and liquor distribution during Prohibition. Uncle Holy was, he came to visit my mom. He was my mom's uncle. And the story is that he came up with this woman who they didn't know, and they both got out of the car, and he says, "Say hello to your Aunt Millie." And she happened to be a midget. So I guess my mom and the rest of her family were very surprised at that. Never had any children. That's all I know. That she was married to Uncle Holy.
I know she was a midget. I remember Gigi told us that a few like years ago, and we were all just very confused. But that's pretty much all I know.
Aunt Millie was married to Uncle Holy, I think, and she was a midget, and she came up to the farm one day, and my grandma was like 6 or 7, and I said, "Hey, here's your Aunt Millie," and she was a midget. But they were cool. She was apparently a really nice lady. So she married the Mafia guy.
I'm sitting there one day and she says, "Well, my cousin was a midget." And I'm like, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, she went and joined the circus and, whatever." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And she said, "No." Never mentioned that in my whole adult life until one day, a few years back.
The Van Slyke side of my family is Irish, and I asked my family the same questions. Where did we come from in Ireland, and how we got here?
I think Dublin, maybe. I think it was Dublin.
No, I don't know that either.
I think it was around the Shannon area.
No.
From what I know, we came through Ellis Island. Again, like from Dublin or Shannon or wherever we came from in Ireland.
My grandmother from Ireland, there was potato famine, so her family came over as well. I honestly am not sure when that was, 1920s maybe?
Reba Van Slyke has been a mysterious great-grandma that I've heard a lot about. I wanted to know more information about her and how she came from Ireland to the United States.
Reba Van Slyke is my mother's maiden name.
That was Gigi's mother.
She was my grandmother, my mother's mother.
She was my namesake. She was my mom's grandma. She came over from Ireland, and I'm named after her. Her full name is Rebecca.
There are people in the family named after Reba. Yeah.
And she was a really sweet lady. Sweet lady. I never remember her with this red hair that everybody talks about. She had snow white hair, but the sweetest lady on the planet.
Yes, they did have an ice cream shop. They sold vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry for the 3 flavors because those were the most common for, like the only ones around. I know they had that for a few years, and then I know that Gigi thought it was a lot of fun.
As far as I know, they did. Like, it was like a revelation, like at Thanksgiving, like not that long ago, like 5 years ago. She was like, "Oh yeah, we had an ice cream shop."
Yes, I learned that later in life, probably less than 5 years ago.
They had like 2 flavors or something, and chocolate and vanilla. I think it was like 5 cents a cone. And it was way before my mom was born, so that's why nobody kind of knew about it.
I had no idea. And they had 2 flavors, vanilla and chocolate. I don't think it lasted long. I think it was maybe a year.
I think they had it for a very short period of time.
Only for like a year or 2 before they decided it's not worth it. Like, I love how nobody knew about it. Like, for years, nobody knew about it.
I showed this version of the film and I asked my family what their takeaways from the film were.
I really liked it. I liked how you used the music in the background, and your editing was great. It was pretty amazing that my brother Doug didn't have the same memories or knowledge that I did, and vice versa. And the same thing with Lauren, which, I would expect, actually. Because there are some details that get lost over the years.
I just really like that we all had different stories, because I think that makes it very unique and different. And I liked hearing what you had to say and what Uncle Doug had to say, because I didn't really know what they knew.
What I think is very interesting is how there's a different narrations among all of us. Like, we all knew different things. Some things were kind of consistent, but overall there was definitely some discrepancies about what we knew about our family. So that was really interesting. After putting it all together, it does give me some clues about where we came from, what we did, especially with the Mafia connections and things like that. I would love to continue to dig deeper, and I hopefully will make maybe a follow-up filmed this. I think this is a good start, and I'm really happy with all the footage that I got. Never thought about how different our opinions would be until they were spoken, so how different our stories should be until I heard them, so that was really useful to know. It really helps me see the differences in narration across generations.